Good afternoon. I am Tom Henry, your current mayor. I am running for re-election. Eric, your question, the question that you asked, dealt with how people who feel intimidated by government, how they can gain access. Well, I felt the same way all of you did when I first became involved in politics. You know, the mayor I thought was up on a pillar, and I couldn't get access to him. And I took that very seriously when I became mayor. So now what I've done is incorporated a number of ways that you can talk to me directly or talk to my staff. Let me go through a few if I may. First of all, I have Mayor's Night In, which is something very unique. No other mayor's ever done that. About every other month, I open up my office and I invite citizens to come up and spend some time with me. Talk to me about your concerns, your complaints. Sometimes I get compliments. My whole staff is there. All my division directors are there. The head of public safety, the police chief, the fire chief, the head of parks, just in case you have a question that I can't answer. I also have Mayor's Night Out, where I go out into your neighborhoods. I recognize some of you because I walk your neighborhoods and I talk to you. And those same people that are with me on Mayor's Night In are with me on Mayor's Night Out. In fact, sometimes it's like a parade walking down your street because they're all with me. And they too want to be accessible to you. I have business walks where I walk up and down different strip malls and different streets. We had a wonderful walk down Pontiac Street. It was quite a walk, as a matter of fact. And it was great. I also have 311, which I started in this city. I started off with one part-time 311 call taking me. Now we have 8. They take tens of thousands of phone calls every month from all of you to make sure you're more accessible to my administration. And I make sure that all of my department heads, all of my division directors do their job because I grade them every month. I get reports on whether or not they responded to your call and what that response was. My email is public to everybody. And it's very simple. mayor@cityoffortwayne.org. I made it that simple so you can get access to me, and it comes right to my office. Some of the things that people send to me, I can't say, but other ones, though, have deep concerns about our community. And again, we receive a number of compliments about my staff, especially the police department, because they made great strides in our community recently. So I'm doing all I can right now to make me and my administration as accessible as possible, and that's going to continue because I don't want you to feel that you're intimidated by anybody in my administration. I want to make sure that you feel that we are accessible and approachable.
What are you going to do that you haven't done? What will you do in this next term?
Actually, what I'd like to do is to continue with something that I'm going to have in September in conjunction with our universities and our colleges and our trade unions, and on the other side, a number of employers who are currently in the mode of hiring. We're going to have an educator-employer summit at the Public Safety Academy. And what we're trying to do is to create a partnership between those two. I can tell you right now, General Motors is hiring. Dana Corporation is hiring. Sweetwater Sound is hiring. Fort Wayne Meadows is hiring. Yet we have a number of young people who are coming out of college who can't get into those jobs because they don't have the skill sets. And yet we have colleges and universities and trades out there who have the educational opportunity to trade or to teach these young people the skills that they need to get those jobs. So we've got a miss in this community. So that's why we're going to have this educator-employer summit. And we're going to invite those young people in to say, if you want to work at Fort Wayne Meadows, you need to have a degree or you need to have some training in this particular area. And look, right across the hall, here's Ivy Tech. You go talk to them about what you're going to need to get that job. That's the problem that we have in Fort Wayne right now. We've got eager young people, but they don't know where to go to pick up the skill sets that they need to get the jobs that we have in this community. We can drive unemployment down in this community if we get a cooperative relationship, a partnership between the employers in this community and our educational partners. So we're going to have a forum in September. We've already put that in motion. And what we're going to have to do then after I get reelected, thank you very much, is to move, quit saying I have gray hair. we're gonna move that relationship forward. Because that's where our future lies, is with our young people. But we've got to make sure they have the skill sets to move this community forward and help Fort Wayne be all that it can be. The sad thing about the southeast part of town is stigma. That's the problem. We've got great neighborhoods. Bob Kennedy said earlier today that we're going to be spending millions of dollars this year in infrastructure. We did last year. We're going to not only this year, but next year too, hopefully. There's not anything wrong with the southeast part of town except the stigma that has been attached. And that stigma is going to be there until, quite frankly, we have the hospitality part of our community increase its presence. I'm talking about restaurants. I'm talking about more stores. You know, we've got a Walmart and we've got a Menards, and that's fine. But we need more. There's disposable income in the south and southeast part of town. You all know that. But retailers and those in the hospitality business are not giving you a chance to spend it in the southeast part of town. And that's been my challenge. And I've worked with several of you in committees, and we still meet. But our challenge right now is to get them to believe in the south part of town. You've got to overcome that stigma. That's the challenge that we have. So obviously, I've been working on that for as long as I've been mayor. We're slowly making progress. John Dortz and Black Chamber of Commerce and we work a lot on that because that's what they do, is represent business. We're making some headway, but we still have a ways to go, and I think we all know that. We've asked all of you to be patient. We've made some progress in certain areas, but we have a ways to go. And we're going to continue moving in that direction, but we're not going to give up. Thank you.
Okay.
I would like to say something before the mayor leaves, too.
Oh, sure, ma'am.
Okay. My name is Hannah Stith, and I'm a dinosaur around town. And also, I irritate quite a few people, but that's okay, because it's the truth. I would like to tell the mayor, you've done a lot of good things, but you know what? A good newspaper doesn't sell with all good news in it. So we're here not to talk about all the good you've done, because you've done a lot of good things, and I appreciate it, and we really watch you. But
You've always watched me.
that's right. So we're just here to point out the things that we need to work on and fix. So that's why we have the negative here today. And I want to thank you for the positive, because I think you've been a terrifically good mayor, and I like downtown. I love it.
Thank you.
I was born here and grew
you,
up
ma'am.
here. But what I would like to say is that I live south. And the neighborhood that I live in is going to hell in a handbasket. On my way here today, I didn't go out. I came through everything I could see. And I find out, as this gentleman has said, the neighborhood code department is very weak. And that's one of the things that I would really like for you to look into, because for 3 years I have fought a junkyard that has increased. It's awful, 1207 Paulding Road. For 3 years, 4 or 5 years, I've fought and tried to get somebody to come out and do something about that. And now it is expanding. And they've got a wood factory in the back where they got wood all piled up. In the front, they got a used car lot. All kind of raggedy, broken down cars. It's just an awful sight. And I have fought 1207, remember that. East Paulding Road, it is a disgrace to the city of Fort Wayne. Also, 1022 Pettit, they've been parking cars up in the yard. I think now it's a Section 8. On the corner of Belmont and Smith. Everybody needs to go there because you can't get through. The man that lives in that house has about 6 or 7 trucks and parked in his backyard. He has them on the street. You can hardly get through. I have spoken to the neighborhood. They came to our association meeting. The corner of Belmont and Smith is a disgrace to the city of Fort Wayne. I go through and I look at all the used cars in people's yards. One house, 6, 7, 8 cars to one house. I've approached my council person about it. They say to me, I've approached everybody that I thought was an authority about this, and nothing has been done, and it still increases, and that brings down the value of our properties. My home will be 50 years old this year. It's only been 55 years ago that the city of Fort Wayne would give a black person a loan for a house. The first bank in the city of Fort Wayne to give a black person a loan for a house was People's Trust. They gave them one. We went in with First Federal, and we were the first group of black people to get new homes, and we were so proud. Now, a lot of those people have died, and Section 8 people are moving into it. Our end of town looks terrible, and I think neighborhood code has a lot to do with it. We had one inspector, his last name was Cap. Mr. Cap tore that place up and did an excellent job. Now we got people in there afraid to do their job, and our neighborhood is disgraceful.
One of the problems that we have, and I don't want to take time away from the other gentleman, Hannah, one of the problems that we have is property tax caps. I don't know how many of you are familiar with those, but they froze our property tax about 8 years ago. The state legislature did. As a result, we don't get any more property tax than what we get now. As a result, the city of Fort Wayne loses about $12 to $15 million a year. But we try to do the best with what we have. Problem is, because we can't give the kind of raises we want to give, because we can't hire more employees, we have to do more with less. So we actually have less employees now than when I took office 8 years ago, because we don't have the revenue stream that we used to have. So I know Cindy Joyner, who she runs code enforcement, and I know she's doing the best job she can. Fortunately, this is being taped, Hannah, so now I know the addresses that you just gave me. I'll turn those over to her on Monday.
All right, and the thing that I would like to say is this: if you only have a few, those few could work a little harder and do a better job. Because a lot of times they're sitting places in restaurants instead of out working on the job that they should be working on. And I don't care how much money you say we don't have anymore. Use what you do have to the best of the ability, because our neighborhood just looks terrible. I'm really embarrassed because once we were in the paper and we had open house, and you should see all the junk and stuff. And if you don't have laws to cover a certain thing, you need to make a law to cover it. Okay? That's why laws are made, because people benefit themselves by making laws.
Hannah, that's why I like you so much. You're not afraid to say how you feel.
Thank you.
Thank you.